welcome back to my channel. I'm Chloe and today it is the very exciting video, the one you have been waiting for. I need to follow up from the other day when we released the news that we are going to be moving to Florida. Yay! So how excited I can finally share our news with you. We are going to be moving to Florida next year. Like, where do I even begin? It is such an exciting announcement to finally be able to make and share this news with you. If you can hear a dog's wagging tail, it's Ozzy here next to me. Yeah, you're going to be a Florida doggy. And I've got Loki wandering around somewhere as well, but I thought I'd just come and do it upstairs in the living room today. We've got like some nice sun coming in through the windows here, so yeah, this is going to be a Q&A. I did ask over on my Instagram once I'd released the news if you had any questions about it, because people just kept asking me so many things and some of them had like similar themes as well. So I thought if I just put a question box up, then you could just ask away and I'd be able to answer everything for you in like this one video. So let's get a few of like the main details out of the way first before I jump into the questions. But we are moving to Florida and we are going to be moving to the Orlando area, and we're going to be moving in about March of next year. Now this has been something that has been a very long time coming, like 9 years in the making. So like the first time me and Lee went to Florida as a couple was in 2015 and we just fell in love with it. We came home and we're like, how can we live there? Like, I'm not even joking you, like what would be like 24-year-olds saying, like we researched how we could move to Florida when we got back, because have you ever been somewhere and you just really fall in love with the place? Well, that's what it was like for us. It felt right to us, and yeah, we just wanted to see how we could live there. But after having like a quick Google search and look online, we thought it was just going to be like out of the picture for us for a very long time at least. We thought you had to have a lot of money to be able to invest to do it, and as a young 20-year-olds, we were just like, that's not where we are right now, you know, that's not something we're going to be able to do. So kind of put it on the back burner, thinking, you know, like when we're older maybe we'll do it, maybe it's a dream to have one day, who knows, something might come up and we're able to move there. It was always a dream we knew wanted to do, but never really knew how to do it. So then obviously over the last 9 years we've kept going back to Florida. You know, it has a piece of our heart now. We've been dragged there numerous times by our hearts, so yeah, we just keep venturing back on holiday. We love it there, and obviously my Instagram and YouTube is centered around Disney now. I'm surprised like not many of you guessed like before now, because when I made the switch over for my content was when we decided like officially we were moving over there. So that's like a year ago now when I like made this transition to just like Disney content, and that's because I for a while I didn't know where my content was going, and I was like thinking of the one thing that I'd be able to keep like talking about and be interested in for a long time, and I was like, well, we want to be moving over there now, like this is the perfect time to like niche down and do like Disney and Florida stuff. So yeah, I'm surprised not many of you guessed, but that was the point when we like officially started making plans to move. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start going through all the questions, because I'm going to cover a lot of like what I want to say in them. So let's get it up. So the first one I'm coming to says, how did you get the visa? Are you working out there? You must be so excited. So yes, we are beyond excited, like so excited. So we went down for the visa appointment in London last week, and when we got home, so Jesse's known about this whole process all along. Jesse, if you don't know, is our he's not 3 anymore, he's 4. He's our 4-year-old son, and we've told him, we've been very open all along that we're trying to move to Florida, and he's been very excited about it. And he knew that we were going to go down last week to have like an important meeting to speak to someone from America, and hopefully they'd let us move to Florida. And we came home and we told him, and his little face went so yeah, he's very excited to be a little American boy. But the question was, how did you get the visa? Are you working out there? So I think there's going to be a few different visa questions, so let me just double check that. Yeah, so have you got jobs over there? What type of visa are you moving over on? Are you moving on a work visa? Have you got a green card? How did you manage to get approved? What work visa? Okay, so let's cover like visas. So the visa we're actually going to be moving on is an E1 visa, and that's through Lee, my husband's business. We really didn't know if there was a way that we could move over there, so I said we need to like speak to somebody. So we got an immigration lawyer, and that was such a huge help. I really do recommend that to anyone. If you are wanting to have recommendations from us, drop me a comment down below or message me on Instagram, and I will gladly send you the immigration lawyers that we use, because obviously they were successful for us. So it's been a really easy, smooth process, and I would really recommend getting an immigration lawyer, especially if you don't know where to start. So that's why we got someone, because we knew we wanted to move to America and Florida, but we didn't know where to start. Like, was it even going to be an option for us? So I said, let's reach out to somebody and we can speak and we can lay our cards out on the table, and they can see if it's something that could be viable or what avenues we would have to go down. So they ended up finding out that an E1 visa would work for us and our circumstances and actually be so beneficial to Lee's business too. So it was kind of like a double whammy. But I would 100% recommend getting in touch with an immigration lawyer because they're going to be able to tell you what's right for your circumstances. Like I say, I never knew there was this way just from Googling, and I Googled a lot, especially when we came back from our like 3-week trip last year. I was like looking all the time at how we could move and different visa types, and I just still didn't see a way myself. So definitely get an immigration lawyer or just speak to someone who knows about immigration law. And yeah, hello, Ozzy. So that you can have your circumstances laid out and they might be able to find you an avenue that you didn't think was possible for yourself. But the E1 visa is like a trade visa. So like I say, Lee's business is being able to take us over there, and it's going to be amazing for his business too. So that's the type of visa we're going to be on. I won't be doing separate work while I'm out there. I'm going to be doing bits for Lee's business. So that's kind of the visas that we're going on. We've not been sponsored by like a company or a business or anything like that. We've not done the typical way, which is an E2 visa where you invest in a business or start a business over there. So yeah, this is the way we've done it. Definitely speak to someone and they'll be able to find a way for you. But like I say, for work, it's going to be me and Lee for Lee's business. And as well as wanting to move over there, I guess like one of the main reasons for going over there is Lee does like lots of business with the US. Like that's how we can get over on like the trade visa, because he has good trade with the US and it's to improve that as well. So we're going to be going over there and making so many like amazing connections. Lee already goes back and forth quite a bit anyway, so this is just going to make that whole process easier and be able to build on it for his business too, and for me for his business as well. What was to go along with that? The next question is, when are you going? Do you have a date? So we know roughly we're going to be moving in March 2025, and that is because originally we were going to be moving in January. We thought about moving in January, and that was just because that was like a date that we plucked out of our head of when might be good for us. So we have like some things wrapping up in December. We wanted to do like Christmas with friends and family before we move away, so January just seemed like a good option to us. However, over the last kind of few weeks to a month, when we kind of got back from Florida, we realised actually that March would probably be a better fit for us, and that's because January is a very busy time for Lee's business, so we will have lots to do then. And also March gives us that little bit more extra time after Christmas, so it's not like the mad dash for Christmas and like presents and sorting out a house all has to be done in like the same breath. So it means we get to enjoy Christmas, Jessica can have presents and everything like that, and then we can think about sorting the house out then, and think about packing down the house and everything like that after Christmas, so it's not all happening at once. So we will be moving in March. We don't have a specific date yet. There's a few things that come into play with when the specific date is going to be, but we're kind of looking at that last night, like when we might want to do that. But we're thinking March, probably mid-March. The next question is, have you been saving for the move? What have you factored into your budget? So we do have a savings pot. We've had it for a while, and we kind of, as soon as we knew that we wanted to make the move, which was like this time last year, so in the last 12 months, we've been making sure that that was set aside specifically for moving. Things that we've had to factor into moving, I guess, would vary on case to case, but like for us personally, it's getting the dogs over there. If we want to take any furniture, how much shipping would cost to get it over there, our flights, and then other things such as you have to have health insurance out there, so that needs to go into your budget. And then we kind of just were like comparing it, like living there to living here, and I guess that's why we went out for the month as well, so we could really see like what finances would be like shopping and what you'd spend and things like that, and then like what we pay here versus what we would be paying there. All that kind of went into play because, so one of the things is we've just had this house, like, is it 2 years now? Come up to 2 years? Yeah. So this was like our dream amazing house where we thought we were going to be for a really long time. 2 years later, we're moving out of it, and that feels really like, not sad because we want to be in Florida, but if we could pick this house up and move this house in Florida, like, that would be the dream for us. So we're actually going to be keeping this house for now. We're not ready to sell it, get rid of it just yet. You know, you never know what comes up. Will we actually enjoy living over, like, at the other side of the world to friends and family? We don't know. It's the first time we've ever done it. So because this is our dream home, we worked so hard for and put a lot into it, like designing it and stuff like that. We weren't ready to give it up. So we wanted to make sure that if there was a way we could keep this house, so that if we ever wanted to move back here, then we could just come straight back into this house. Then that's what we wanted to do. So that's kind of gone into the budget as well. Can we afford to have this house and still move over there? And then like when you're thinking about budgeting, what would like a house budget look like over there if we're going to keep this house too? So yeah, all that kind of goes into the thought process of budgeting as well. So what was the application process like? The application process was very intense, and you definitely need more than you think and allow yourself extra time is what I would say. So we found out our visa type typically processes in about 5 months, which actually for us it was quicker, which is insane to say now. So we first had a call with somebody like just before Christmas last year, and that was when we found out that yes, there is a way that we can move over here. And then like in the new year we decided, yeah, that's definitely what we want to do. We want to kind of get the ball rolling, and spoke to them further and found out the type of visa we were applying for, how long it like took. So we knew we wanted to move over like next January, so we're kind of like, okay, so we want to get the visa just before then, so let's start applying in like April time, and then it'll give us a bit of like leeway with when we're going to go. Yeah, we were like, we'll start applying in April. We'd kind of had a few conversations with lawyers and knew like what we needed to know and collect and things like that. And then yeah, we were like, okay, so we'll officially apply in April then. But like that to me, like they just sent you things and then you'd fill it out and send it off. Like our process pack is like a 200-page thing, plus you had to send off like loads of different documents. So I took a file down with everything last week, and it was like this big that I had to take the visa interview, like a file of everything. So if you want to start applying say in April, you actually need to start applying in like February or March, because it's going to take you that long to fill out all the forms and gather everything. For me it was actually really easy because it's Lee's business that's getting the visa. He had to do a lot of like the hard work. So Lee was going to be here with me today, but he's had to jump on a work call now, so it's just me today. So hopefully like he would have been able to go through everything like that with you. So yeah, he had a lot to do, and they kind of go through everything with you. You have like, so for our visa we had to prepare like a application booklet, and that was going through all like the company accounts, payrolls, like who's employed, yeah, just accounts like what you spend, what you make. What else did it include? You have to fill out like forms that say, once, because it's classed as a non-immigrant visa, once your visa length is up, you have to like sign something to say that you'll come home and you won't stay in the country. Yeah, so that was a lot of kind of work on that like front bit from Lee, but it's basically just like form filling and getting statements from banks and accountants and people like that you work with. So yeah, just lots of form filling for Lee, unfortunately, for that kind of section. For me, it was relatively easy. It was just like filling my personal details, signing the dotted line kind of thing. The whole application process, I'd say we started in April and we actually submitted in June. So it took 2 months to kind of gather everything. But from then on, it went a little bit faster than we anticipated. So that was good. So yeah, we officially started applying in April, got everything together, applied in June, and then they said it would take they said it would take 60 working days to hear back from them. It took us 75 working days to hear back from them. So rather than like 2 months, it was like 3 months. Is that right? I don't remember now, but yeah, it was like a month longer than we anticipated. We thought we were going to find out the news when we were out there, like that it had been reviewed, but it wasn't. So I was planning on doing like a big reveal in Walt Disney World saying that we'd got approved and stuff, but it ended up being longer than that. But it still ended up like working out timescales really good anyway, so that's fine. But make sure you allow for extra processing time. So we did all of that. Then we got approved, I think it was like mid-October, beginning of October. I think it was beginning of October when we got approved. And well, I thought it was getting approved. It was that basically that your case has been reviewed and that, yeah, they want to see you for an interview. So we got the email that we needed an interview, and then we were able to book that interview in with like, I think it was about 3 weeks time. So we got that in for mid-October, got the yes there and then at the visa appointment, and then the visa being processed, and we've literally got the email this morning to say that they're ready in to pick up. So what we're now, end of October, so we submitted in June, so July, August, September, October, so it only took actually 4 months, 6 months if you include the time from when we had to collate everything. So 6 months from actually starting to getting a visa, I don't think is bad at all, considering it takes some people years. And even if you just think about it, it's like it's a full year from when we first had those conversations and found a way to move. So 12 months and you've got a visa in your hand. Like, I think that's pretty good going. Next question is, where did you start from a property search point of view? So this is a really interesting question, and I think there is some other ones about property too. Somebody else has asked, which area are you thinking to live in first, inland or near the coast? Which area of Florida are you moving to? Have you found somewhere to live? How does a mortgage etc work? I knew there was another question on there about that. What are you renting or purchasing? Where are you moving to in Orlando? Yeah, so let's talk like property. Because we are going to be keeping this house, we're going to be renting over there. We're going to be moving to like the general Orlando area, so around like the theme parks. We've got a few areas that we've got on our mind where we'd like to live. When we went actually last month, when was it? Yeah, it was actually last month. Can you believe that? So much has gone on, but yeah, when we were over there last month for our month-long trip, we actually had a look at some different houses, and I did get some footage, so there will be videos of like us house hunting to crop them as well, so that was like secret filming. But yeah, so we did have a look at some different houses and some different areas, and we've got it narrowed down to like about 3 areas that we'd like to try and look at living in, and we are going to be renting to start with as well. So I'm not too sure on like the buying process. I wouldn't be the person to ask for that because we're going to be renting at first. I know a little bit from what we spoke to like realtors and stuff when we're out there, in terms of if you're going to be buying, because as a UK citizen you don't have like US credit history, there's things you can do to start building up your credit history, such as getting like a bank account, like your phone, basic things like that. But it's going to be a lot harder to get a mortgage because you don't have like a long credit history, so you're going to have to put like a big deposit up front or just pay full in cash. So we didn't want to do that because we want to rent, because we're not sure if the area we initially go to is where we want to stay long term or not, you know. So we want to move somewhere, try it out for a bit, but then have the flexibility of, do you know what, we've actually never lived in this area before, we'd like to try this area or this area. And then there's always the option, like Lee is such a beach bum and he would love to move to the coast as well, so who knows, a few years down the line you could see us at Clearwater or in Sarasota, you never know. But to start off with, we're going to be moving to like the Orlando area and renting a house. So I definitely will do a full video once we're over there as well, house hunting and everything, because I think that process is super exciting. And I love looking at houses. Like even now I'm always looking at houses, so I'm always looking at what's up for rent, so I can kind of get an idea on what's on the market and what prices are. So we've set ourselves a budget. We actually did it last night. We set ourselves an actual physical budget after looking at finances, so we know what kind of house to expect and we know what we can get for our monies in certain areas. So someone says, how have you got a green card? And someone else asked me about this as well. So the type of visa we're on, it's not a green card, it's a non-immigrant visa. So if you go onto like the US Embassy website, I think it is, it'll show you like the different types, and there's immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas, and then there's also like green cards and citizenship and stuff like that. But the type of visa we're going on is a non-immigrant visa, so that's valid for a certain length of time. It'll be 2, 3 or 5 years. It'll depend on what visa it is you're going on, your circumstances. We don't actually know at the time of filming this how long ours is for. We were just so excited to get the yes when we went to the embassy that it was just like, yeah, okay, walked out of the room, and then it wasn't until we got home late that night we were like, didn't actually know how long we've been approved for. So it's going to be a surprise how long we've been approved for when we go collect our passport in a couple of days. But yeah, so that's not a green card. So with this type of visa that we're on, there is a possibility to extend it or switch it out to a different type of visa if we want to once we're out there. But that's kind of like, I hate this thick term, but like the nitty gritty further down the line. If our visa length's up and we decide we want to come home, we come home. Because it is a non-immigrant visa, you don't have any ties to the US in that kind of sense. You come home when your visa's done. Or if your circumstances are still the same and you want to reapply for that visa, then you can do that while you're already out there, and then it'll just be extended. So yeah, I guess we'll see once this initial visa period is up what we'll be doing. Have you looked at schools? Do you have to pay for school there? That's a really good question, is that? That's a really good question, is that? Because I know a lot of you have children yourself that are interested in moving. So that's a part of the process that needs talking about. So Jesse has just turned 4. So in the UK, he would start school next September. School systems, I have researched a lot. So over in America, they actually start school like the year after. So here they will start school after the September after their 4th birthday. Over there, they start school in the August after their 5th birthday. So I always think, because Jesse's a September baby, I always think of him going to school when he's 5, but actually he'll be going to school when he's 6 over there, you know, like a month before he turns 6. You don't have to pay for schools. So on the type of visa we are on, which is most visas as well, you get this. If your like parents are there for work or there because of certain situations, then children are allowed to go to school, like they're entitled to the education system, I believe. That's what it is going to be for us. Jesse will be allowed to go to a US school without paying, so he will go to a local school, or there's a lot of different schooling options out there. He can go to the locals, like elementary school. We could go to a charter or a private school. We could homeschool him. We could do online school. The one thing that I'm really excited about is seeing what other people do in the area when we get over there, because I know that it's not just straightforward like it is in the UK here. Here, you go to school or a small majority homeschool. Over there, there's so many different options, and I know in Orlando, because people are moving in and out all the time, that everyone does something so different. So I'm really looking forward to kind of getting to know people and finding like our people and our community and seeing what they do for schooling and see if they have any recommendations, because I'm very open to lots of different schooling options for Jessie. You're snoring? I've got a snoring dog next to me here. Will you have a spare room or two for visitors? That's from my cousin. And yes, absolutely, we will be getting at least one spare bedroom, so visitors will be very welcome. What are the average temperatures? Will you have a pool? So we would love a pool. We're not too sure if it would be in our budget. So that's the one thing we always said we really wanted a pool. However, we just don't know if it's going to be possible in the areas that we're looking at. So we've decided that we'd like to go for like a nicer area based on like what's available in the local area, schools, amenities, things like that. And those are the areas that have the not nicer, but like the more highly rated public schools as well, so that if we decide to send Jesse down just like the normal traditional schooling route, we know he's got a good school there. So that being said, those kind of houses in those areas with pools are more expensive, and the kind of budget that we're looking at, most of them don't have a pool. However, they do have a lot of community pools, and I know that most of the places that we're looking at have like a community pool. So we might not have one in the back garden, but we'll definitely have one in the community that we can access, so that's really nice. And then in terms of temperatures, that's one thing, like that's one of the reasons why Florida, because it's sunny year round basically, isn't it? I remember like this time last year starting to really like track the temperatures for this past 12 months, and I've not seen it drop below like 10 degrees Celsius, which I can get on board with. And I remember last winter when they had the few days that were 10 degrees and they're like, oh my gosh, it's freezing. They had the hats and scarves and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I can imagine after like 12 months, that would be me too. But yeah, like now it's like 27 degrees at the end of October. So I can definitely get on board with that, like nice sunny skies. I know you've got like hurricane and rainy season to take into account, but the average temperatures are very up our street. No more snow basically. Do they drive better in Florida than here in Yorkshire? What kind of car will you get? So I'd say no. Americans do not drive better than here in England. They are crazy drivers, especially in Orlando. Traffic is crazy, drivers are crazy, but I think having been over there and driven like for a few months already now, yeah, you just really quickly adapt to it. Driving on the other side of the road, in the other side of the car, was actually a lot easier than I anticipated, because it's not just like you're at the wrong side of the road, like everything's flipped. So in my brain, that makes it easier than if you were still at that side. But yeah, I don't know why, it just makes it easier, but they're definitely not better drivers. And car-wise, we're not too sure. Again, we're just looking at our options currently. I really would like a Jeep Wrangler, so we're definitely going to be probably having two cars. So at home right now we just have one car, but we will be getting two cars because we'll definitely need it more. Like out in Florida and in America, you just need a car to get around everywhere, don't you? So definitely be having two cars, having like a family car for me, and then Lee can have something like a bit more sporty if he wants. But for me, like as the family car, I'd love a Jeep Wrangler, but could it be that? Yes. Or like a Tiguan or something like that. Just like I want like a family SUV style car that can take all our extra guests in the back from the airport when we pick them up. So yeah, we're getting two cars, family car. Lee's probably going to get a more sporty car too. And then I think a lot of other questions are just the same in terms of like housing, visa, how we've done it, the whole process. But then the last question is, are the dogs going with you? And absolutely they are. They're going to be little Florida doggies, aren't you? You're going to be little Florida doggies. And I should probably talk about how we're going to get them across as well, because it was kind of always a very sore subject for me, and one of the reasons why I held off wanting to move to Florida or America in general was because of how to get the dogs over there. And I have never wanted to put them in the hold. Like, that's just something that I don't think these guys would like. Ozzy doesn't like going in the car. Like, he's not going to like going in the hold in an aeroplane. So it's something that I did a lot of research into. I found out that you can put them in the hold. Yep, that's fine. You can also like ship them across on a ferry. Well, it's not a ferry, it's a cruise ship. You can take them on, I think it's the QE2, Queen Mary II, maybe? Something like that. And yeah, they can go on the cruise ship with you, and it goes from like Southampton to New York or something like that. And it takes a week, and they have kennels on board. But again, it just didn't sit right for me. So A, they have a very long wait list. You've got to be like 2 years in advance to get your name down. And B, it's kennels. And ours have never been into kennels, and I just didn't like the thought of them being on there for a week where there was going to be lots of the dogs barking at them. I just thought it'd be so traumatic. So I really looked into different ways to get them across. And the way that we're actually going to be getting them across sounds a bit mental, but we're going to be flying them on a private jet. I know, cue like the insane. What? Are you like bazillionaires? No. There are companies now that charter private jets. So there's a few different ones. There's Barkair, Pet Jets, K9 Jets, something like that. Anyway, there's a few different ones out there that do it, and they actually have their companies based on this, and they like charter out private jets and fill it up with people who are wanting to fly their dogs over the world. So yeah, that's how they're going to be getting over there, is by a private jet. I unfortunately will not be making that trip, we don't think. I think it's going to be Lee, because it's going to be like one person with 2 dogs. So it's going to be hard for me to control the 2 of them. So it's probably going to be Lee making that extra trip to take the doggies over to America. But yeah, they're going to have the life of luxury. I'll show you Ozzy. Going to have the life of luxury on a private jet. And in terms of costing for that as well, so I got quotes, because obviously that was how I wanted to get them over there. But I thought, I can't do this though if it's going to take all of our budget. So yeah, I got quotes what it would just be to have them in the hold, so I would know that. And I think the quote came out to around 4,500, 5,000. Could have even been 6,000. I think it was 4,500 to 5,000 to have these guys flown over in the hold from like Manchester to Orlando, basically. So yeah, I had that price in my mind. Then I found these charter companies, and they charge about £6,000. It's all in dollars, so that's why I say about. So it's about £6,000 for both of these 2 to fly on a jet. So for me, the extra £1,500 to £2,000 was worth it for me, and that's for you to make that own decision if you're going to be transporting pets over, isn't it? You know, where you want to spend your money and your budget. But for me, the extra £2,000 was worth it, so that these guys will be able, they literally fly literally on the seat, so to be able to have that home comfort of Lee with them, because it's going to be something completely new and different. Ozzy doesn't like travelling in the car, so I think he might be a little bit scared, so to have Lee there with him, I just think will be so nice. Yeah, just way more comforting and the best circumstances for my dogs. If you've got dogs that don't mind travelling, maybe a bit younger, that was the other thing. Like, these guys are going to be almost 10, so putting them through that stress I really didn't want to do. I wanted to make it as low stress as possible. So they're going to go on a little flight with Daddy, aren't you? Yeah. That's nice, good boys. So yeah, I will make sure that Lee does document that as well, because I can't believe I'm going to miss out on a doggie's private jet flight. Like, how awesome does that sound? Lee's not even too bothered, but me, I'd love to do that, but needs to be Lee to be able to control both of them at the same time. So yeah, these little babes are going to be Florida doggies. We'll have to get lots of aircon on for you, won't we, Oz? Get your cooling mats and everything. I'm so excited to make the journey with them. I think once we get over there, it'll feel like just like a bit of a holiday, and these guys are going to follow on, like I say, with Lee like a couple of weeks later, and I think that's when it'll really feel like home, that we've moved to Florida when these guys join us. So I think that is pretty much it for everything. It's really hard to kind of think about the process as a whole and think have I covered everything, but yeah, I will be doing other videos along the way. So we filmed when we went down to the embassy, and we're going to do like a full visa video. So I just answered like what I could right now about the visa, but I will be doing, like I say, a full video about the visa process, including us going down to London to get the visas, what it was like. We've already addressed, like in that video, what it was like when we're in the room, and then also when we go to collect the visas in a couple of days as well. I'll probably include that in it as well. And then yeah, like there's going to be moving like vlogs in terms of packing up the house and selling things and my possessions, actually moving over there, looking for houses, every step of the way, you guys are going to be along for the ride here and also on my Instagram. So make sure you follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because I do post daily things over there, stories, several posts a week. So yeah, if you don't want to be missing anything to do with the Florida move, then make sure you're subscribed here and also follow me on Instagram. Then you won't miss out on any of the cool updates that we've got coming your way. Right now, this is going to be the end of this video, but I will still have Sunday's regular video coming, which is back to the Florida vlogs. We've still got plenty to come from our month-long trip in Orlando. So we're back to your regular scheduled Orlando vlogs on Sunday, and they're going to continue on for the following weeks. And then we'll start with the moving process. So I hope you have enjoyed watching this video today. Please give it a big thumbs up if you have. If you do still have any questions, definitely leave them down in the comments below or DM me on Instagram. I am more than happy to go through and answer absolutely anything and everything you have to ask about this whole process, because that's why I'm doing this video, because when I was in this position, there was barely any information about it, and it would just be nice to have some other people to talk to. I did along the way find a couple of people who have been through like a similar process. So yeah, I just would love to be that person for you as well if you want to chat anything over from someone who has already done it and is now in the process of doing it as well. So yeah, I'll stop rambling now and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.